Hi, Steve Trader again with TCT Property Services. We are the resource for people building financial security with real estate. You probably remember that Janice and I, Janice Doty is the broker and my business partner at TCT Property Services, and we wrote the book Hold. It was a national bestseller a few years ago because we talked about creating the safe, secure strategy for creating financial security using real estate. And I shared with you before, homeowners, if a homeowner makes 46 times more than renters or are worth 46 times more than renters, what would happen if you had more than one? If you had two or three or four or whatever. I shared with you last time the local market stats, and we looked at Phoenix and we saw that Phoenix is still growing and the population is still increasing and our jobs are still continuing to come into Arizona. We're the #2 job growth in the United States. Only Tennessee is growing faster than Arizona with regard to jobs, but not just any kind of jobs. We were talking about the fact that these are high-paying jobs. About 50% of them pay more than $100,000 a year, and people are moving into these high-tech industries that are locating in Arizona. But the question here is, this is a seller's market, right? Isn't it a good time to sell? I mean, I was always told buy low and sell high, and isn't this the time to do that? Well, that's a great question, right? But then the next question is, what am I going to do? Am I going to reinvest, or am I going to speculate in something different? What am I going to do with the cash? Or am I an investor or am I a speculator? What's the difference, and how do I be smart with my investments, and what's the right way to create financial security? Now, we can't answer all of those questions in this few minutes in this video. However, I just want to share something with you. Warren Buffett, who's one of the most successful investors, said, if you're an investor, you're looking at what the asset is going to do. If you're a speculator, you're commonly focused on what the price of the object is going to do. And so he said, that's not our game. He goes, I don't play that game. In other words, if it's a good asset, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm an investor. If I'm a speculator, I'm going to buy low, sell high, and see if I can beat out the market. I want to share something with you. I want to share a thought that might be different than what you've heard before. And that thought is, cash is not an asset. Cash is not an asset. Cash loses value over time. That's what we call inflation. Cash loses, right now, inflation's running about 2%. It's losing. $1 today is going to be worth 98 cents tomorrow. So that's why you take cash and put it into investments. Yet what we hear is so many people that are going, I'm going to cash out. I'm going to sell my investment. I'm going to get the cash out because, wow, I've got way more equity. Cash is not an asset. Cash is a tool to buy assets that appreciate. Cash is a depreciating asset that is a tool to buy assets that appreciate. And so, but is it real estate? What's going on with real estate? Well, here's what we teach in our book. First of all, real estate goes in cycles. And if you look on the screen, real estate has a boom cycle for a period of years, and it hits the peak prices. And then what happens is it goes through a bust period, and in some parts of the country, it goes down in value. In other parts of the country, it just stops appreciating, but it doesn't go down in value. And that's what we've experienced in Phoenix over most of my 43 years in real estate. So then what happens? Well, the new price floor, it's all now more expensive, and so we go up to the next boom. So how do we play all of that? Because that's what we talk about in the stock market. Janice and I, when we wrote the book with our co-authors, Jimmy and Linda McKissick, we don't say buy low, sell high. What we say is the smart strategy is take the cash, acquire the asset, hold that asset as long as it's got a positive cash flow. Properties with a positive cash flow, let me tell you this, never lost money on a property I didn't sell if it has a positive cash flow. So We talked before, the property values have been going up like crazy. Those of us that have been investing have been seeing over the last 20 years, 4.5% appreciation rate on the property values. And I'm going to talk more about that in another video. What does appreciation in real estate look like as opposed to appreciation in stocks? But let me tell you a quick story, because we're asking the question, is this the right time to sell? And I'm going to suggest to you it's not. I want to share with you the Dear John story, because John owned his investment for over 20 years. The renters paid off his loan for him, so now he's owning it free and clear. The rents are all coming in and he's enjoying the cash flow, but he's getting telephone calls from real estate agents saying, John, you know how much equity you have in your house? You should sell the house. And he was retiring, and so he wanted to get the cash out of the house. He thought that was the right thing to do for his retirement. The house, over that period of 20 years, he had maintained the house and maintained it very well, but it wasn't remodeled, it wasn't upgraded. So he put it on the market. He was happy for the price that he sold it for. Absolutely, it's a seller's market. He was happy with that. But what's the rest of the story? When he got his tax bill, he had to pay capital gains, almost 25% of what he had in the or what he received. And then he had to recapture the depreciation that he had been used, because that was part of his tax shelter over those years. John called me up and he said, Steve, I'm so disappointed. He goes, the after-tax proceeds, in other words, the money that I got after Uncle Sam took his chunk, I can't even get close to the income that I was getting before. So let's just take a look and let's just use a hypothetical. Let's say that you own a property, and let's say today it's worth $250,000 and you owe $125,000. You have $125,000 worth of equity and the cash flow is $250 a month. Can I tell you that I hear from a lot of people that say, it's only $250 a month. Let's go ahead and sell. Well, it's not only $250 a month. So let's just take a look at what happens next, right? Let's say your property value is $250. Let's be conservative and say it only goes up at 4%, not the 4.5% or the 9% we've been getting over the last 20 or 10 years. 4.5% means you just added $10,000 worth of value, or monthly, that's $833 per month in additional value that your property is going up. The tenant's paying down your mortgage, and it's probably about $300 a month. Let's just estimate that. It's probably more, but let's just estimate that. There's another $300 per month. The cash flow, remember the $250 per month positive cash flow you're getting? That's $3,000 for the year. So you have a total of $16,600 worth of increase in the value of your investment, the value of your asset. If we divide that by 12, that's almost $1,400 a month, $1,383 a month. Okay, well, what happened to John? In this case, same thing will happen with you, but let's forget the taxes. Let's just look and say, hey, I got $125,000 worth of equity. I'm going to pay the closing costs, and now I'm going to net $107,000. Now, Uncle Sam will take his chunk out of that, but let's say that you didn't have to pay any taxes at all. If you take that $16,600 per month that your asset is creating for you and divide that by your net proceeds, the money you would get if you sold the property, $107,000, that's 15.5% interest. That's 15.5% return on investment. Are you an investor? Are you a speculator? Are you going to be able to reinvest and make that and put that back? You see, return on investment makes a big difference. Let me share this story with you because my mother-in-law decided that she didn't want to stay in the house anymore. My father-in-law had passed away. And so we had told her that she could come and live with us, and she lives with us to this day. And this was a few years ago, about 7 years ago, I think it was now. And so I said, Grandma, if we keep the house and rent the house out, your great-grandchildren, Jackson and Nolan, don't have to worry about where their college money is going to come from. Your grandchildren, Matt and Rachel, the Jackson and Nolan's parents, they don't have to worry about, can I save enough for college for the kids? or do they have to borrow money to go to college? Well, when we ran the numbers and we took a look at how much would you get if you sold the house, she would have gotten about $31,000 after she paid all of the closing costs. Let's just take a look at what return on investment, what a difference that makes. Because if she'd have put the money in the bank like she was thinking about doing, she would have made about 42 after 15 years, which is our holding period before college, about $42,000. Well, what about the stock market? What if she put money in the stock market? Well, you know that financial advisors say that stocks are going to make you 6 to 10% if you hold on to them for a long period of time. So let's just average it out at 8%. Okay, instead of having $42,000, now you've got $100,000 because your return on investment, the ROI, was 8%. Well, what about 15%? Because I just told you in that hypothetical example, you would have had 15.5% return on investment with the hypothetical example. Well, that goes from 100,000. Now we're at 250,000. What if it was 20%? What if it was 25%? It just continues to go up. The return on investment, the ROI, is a big deal. We're going to have another video where we talk specifically about return on investment. So if I'm an speculator, now could be a good time to sell if I could do better with my money. But if I'm an investor, don't sell now. There are far better options. In the previous video, I shared with you where our market is going. In the next video, I'm going to share with you how do we know that the market is going there? And what are the statistics that we look at to say what's happening specifically in Phoenix now? Because the Phoenix market, if we can just recap, people are moving here. Our jobs are growing faster here than the rest of the country, Property values are going up, rents are going up, mortgage rates are extremely low. And I just want to pause here a second. If it's time for you to refinance, please get in touch with me. I can get you a no-cost refinance, free, no fees up front, and $1,000 back. It's a special program, only available through Keller Williams. So if you have a Keller Williams agent, use your Keller Williams agent. Otherwise, give me a call. We have a shortage of new houses being built here. The demand is high, our supply is low. We got a bunch of other videos that are coming up. And so I encourage you to come and take a look at all of the videos that we have. And let me just stop here. And I want to say thank you for being a part of TCT. We appreciate your business. We truly value your asset, and we are excited about the growth in the value of the assets here in Phoenix. We want you to continue to experience and achieve that. And we are the resource for people building wealth with real estate.